ENFP Nete Loop, what it means and how to break free. For the extroverted personality types, going into their loop means they turn to their extrovert functions. This isn't immediately a bad or negative thing, and sometimes it occurs under stress as a means of helping the person navigate whatever challenges they are facing. At first, it can cause them to turn towards parts of themselves they normally would not, applying pressure to a function that isn't as natural or strong for them. It can help the individual figure some things out they are struggling with, but if this goes on for too long, it can certainly become unhealthy for them. When they get in this loop for long periods of time, they definitely need a means of breaking free before it applies too much stress to their weaker functions and leaves them feeling emotionally and mentally exhausted. When the ENFP is in their loop, they lose connection to their introverted functions, which can cause their behavior to change drastically. When the ENFP is stuck in this loop, they are no longer focused on their introverted feeling, phi. Instead, their extrovert thinking, te, function receives pressure. This can happen when the ENFP is under extreme stress or deals with a major life change that is hard to manage normally. This stress causes the ENFP to search for other means of solving their problems and coping with their surroundings. Instead of turning to their sense of inner morals, the ENFP becomes focused on using facts and hard details, which isn't quite as natural for them. ENFPs normally rely on introverted feeling. Normally the ENFP uses their introverted feeling rather strongly, as this is their auxiliary or second function. This helps the ENFP make decisions based on their own inner judgment, often strongly connected to their morals. Their introverted feeling is something very internal and personal for the ENFP, but it works to help them connect with their choices and be more confident in what they are doing. While their dominant function is extrovert feeling, this is what makes the ENFP so imaginative and always looking at the possibilities around them. They observe and imagine different scenarios, considering what the possible outcomes of the situation will be. Their introverted feeling allows the ENFP to use these ideas and potential and filter it through the most important choice for them. They might see different scenarios or different reasons for someone's actions, but their introverted feeling allows them to deduce what is right and good. For the ENFP, a sense of right and wrong is truly important, and this is where that phi comes into play in their lives. The Nete loop in ENFPs. When the Nete loop occurs in ENFPs, they become very focused on analyzing the possibilities and using facts to figure out the answers. This is something that can go in a rather vicious cycle, with the ENFP never truly feeling satisfied. They start by analyzing the information and potential, and using data as a means of coming up with a solution or likely outcome. The trouble is that once the ENFP does come up with this answer, then it comes back into play and finds even more scenarios and ways this could go wrong or be incorrect. The ENFP continues to go in a loop until they find themselves stressed and constantly unsure of their actions or choices. They need to analyze the information and run it through over and over again, in hopes of figuring out what the best possible choice or answer is. Sometimes they analyze people and their behaviors, second-guessing what their intentions are. When the ENFP uses their phi in these scenarios, they can often understand people better and be more sensitive to their most likely intentions. Instead, they find themselves having doubts and might start comparing themselves to others. In this mode, the ENFP can be much harsher, since they aren't using the phi to sympathize and better understand people. Their inner emotions aren't the ones taking charge. Instead, they are putting a lot of weight on using facts and logical means in order to get their answers and results. The ENFP can actually start seeing the negative in things rather than the positivity and sense of hope. Where they can normally always find the bright side and look at people with a sense of warmth. When they are stuck in their loop, they often analyze the actions of others and can see a more selfish intent behind them. While the ENFP normally uses te as a fact check or a way to remember small details, it isn't the same when they are applying too much pressure on this function and are stuck in this loop. How to escape the ENFP loop? The most important means of escaping the loop is focusing on the introverted functions that the ENFP is ignoring. Their phi, in particular. When the ENFP is trapped in this loop, they need to return to their normal behaviors and try to reconnect with the function they have betrayed most. They need to connect with people and find ways to draw closer to their friends and loved ones. For the ENFP, it is important to take time to be introspective as well, but being around loved ones does help them connect with those inner emotions and sense of morals. To regain a sense of normalcy, they need to find tools to break free of that loop and focus more on their FI, which is normally a big part of their decision-making and judgment. The ENFP sees the world from so many different angles, but at the same time, they have a way of calming this down by relying on that introverted feeling, helping them to judge things based on what they feel is right or wrong.